All right, we are talking busts now. So we are going on to players who are ranked too high. And if you pick them at where they're ranked, you are going to be in a world of hurt. Now, this does not mean you don't draft them. At some point, you will want to draft these players if they slide very far away. But we're just saying that at this rank, you are in for a world of hurt. So I'm going to let you start off, Cal. Who have you got on your bust list?
My first bust, I'm going to make some people mad, is going to be John Collins.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
yes.
but I'm sorry, but it's just like, I'm not going to draft this man in my first round. I would much prefer someone's a lot more reliable with a much more reliable roster where I know what he's doing. I don't know what his fit is with this team. How can you draft someone at number one if you don't know how he fits in with the team?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. There's been so much bad news or bad just like chatter about John Collins, even in just like this trade period and free agency, that makes me really nervous. And the Hawks have gone out and added some talent, man. Like they're going to be a decent team next year. And yeah, John Collins, I know Jermaine loved him now, and this was before free agency, so we'll cut him some slack. They have added some players, and maybe his opinions changed, but he's ranked. What is he ranked? 13th on Yahoo.
He's ranked 13th.
Yeah,
13th.
I'm not taking him at pick 13. I think
no.
Yeah, I don't see him averaging anywhere near the amount of points that he had last year. I think his blocks are going to go down with Capella there. I think his rebounds could go down if he's playing more four. And there's so many mouths to feed now there at Atlanta. I don't like John Collins there. So, and those drops in those stats are going to shoot him way down because it's very competitive at the top of the draft there. And even just a small decrease can send you back 1 or 2 rounds quite comfortably.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't see him averaging 22 and 10. No. I think he had a pretty good season in terms of his blocks as well. So yeah, that's going to come down. The one big thing for him is his field goal. Yeah. And I don't. Do you see him averaging 15 field goal attempts a game again with the team?
No way.
No way. So it's not going to be as valuable as it was previously as well. So look, I don't want to buy him. If you can get him, like, if he falls to a late second round, I'd even still be questioning it. If I could get him in the third round, maybe I'd look at getting him.
He's a third rounder for me. I don't want him inside the top 25, basically. Outside of there, I start considering him because he's still a decent player, but there's just a lot of downside there with not too much upside, in my opinion. I don't think I definitely can't improve on last year. So I don't know why they're ranking him so high over on Yahoo there. Okay. I'm going to move on to my bust, and I pumped up my boys, my Celtics, in the first section with the sleepers. I'm going to be honest, and Kemba Walker is my number one bust for this year. He is ranked number 26, and look, Kemba, there's not been good news. There's not been good news coming out of Kemba's camp recently. His knees are messed up. Apparently, he's may not even make the start of the season. He might not be healthy for the start of the season. They might be resting him to start the season. And even when he was healthy last year, well, he wasn't super healthy last year, but he wasn't. The reports weren't as bad as they are now. He was nowhere near this rank last year. I'll quickly get him up what he was last year, but I just don't see Kemba at this age. He's on the wrong side of 30 now.
I'll say the notes they have on fantasy right now. It says his availability will reportedly be updated the first week of January, meaning he will miss the start of the season. That's what they're saying right now.
So obviously, look, maybe these rankings are made before that range, but even if he was healthy, I think this is way too high for him. He was the 45th ranked player last year. And I think that Tatum's taken a step forward. Jaylen Brown's taken a step forward. They've signed a better backup in Jeff Teague, who will get more minutes compared to Wanamaker last year. And look, and even when he's healthy, he doesn't get steals. He's a low rebound player. Field goal percentage has always been poor. So I don't like him. I'm not taking him inside the top 50 personally.
Yeah, I totally agree. 26 is way too high. Way too high. He's gonna have a down year. I think, like, the injuries thing's been out for a while now. In the playoffs, I know they played a lot of defense around him and sends around like that boxing one, but he was pretty bad in the playoffs. Let's be honest, he was not good. And Tatum, I think this is going to be his season. He's going to take a big step forward. I can see him putting up like 28 a night, and it's just going to eat into Kemba's kind of numbers as well.
28 a night with Tatum, jeez. Oh, I'm loving the sound of that, Cal. All right. Yeah. So Kemba Walker is my number one bust. Do not draft him at 26. You'll be in for a lot of hurt. And stay on top of the injury news because yeah, January. That's the first month of the season. He's gone. So and that's just to be reevaluated. So it could be longer. So
Yeah.
let him slide in your drafts. All right. Who's your next bust?
All right, my next bust is number 23, Michael Jordan, number 23, Zion Williamson.
Yep.
That's it. There's the shirt. It's behind you. Number one from Duke. I am not going to draft him at 23. It's too high. There's too much risk. I mean, yes, I think the ceiling would be around that high 20s. Because I reckon he could be so good in field goal would be like his one big drawing card. Field goal. And then I guess the counting stats on steals and blocks if he gets enough minutes. But he's going to hurt you in free throws. He doesn't shoot threes. So even just with those two aspects, I feel like you're kind of forced into some kind of punt. Which you could do. You could go for the full punt in those areas, but you're just limited with what he can do there. His upside, I think, would be around that 23 range. And everyone's like on the hype train. Let's go Zion. He's going to rest games. They're going to play it safe. I don't think the Pellies are a playoff team this season. They got rid of Drew Holiday. They're just going to see what fits around Zion this season and then try and make a push in 2 or 3 years from now for the playoffs. That's my opinion. I think it's a reach. I'd be comfortable drafting him maybe in the 4th round, not in the 2nd.
He is a tough one to sort of get your gauge on because he has such a high upside. If everything goes right, he could be the 23rd best player. But like we said before, if you're drafting at 23, there was nothing but downside. There's nothing but you just getting hurt. And if he's 23, then you've just got the 23rd best player. So last year, if we punted his worst category, free throw percentage, and then turnovers was one of his poor categories as well. He's still only the 61st ranked player. So I think if you're drafting him, you're 100% punting free throws because he's taken 7.5 a game. And it's the steals and blocks to me that has to improve for him to actually get higher than this. He has the capability of doing it. In college, he was an elite steals guy and an elite block guy, which is why I drafted him as high as I did last year on his rookie season. I think I got him close to pick 40 or maybe 45 or something like that. And it hurt. And we haven't even mentioned his injury history. Like this man.
Yeah, he'll rest games for sure.
They're going to be super cautious with him. We've seen it in the past, like in the bubble, he had no injuries and they're still just resting him. So I think you're asking for a bit of pain there. I'm not quite sure where I would draft him. I think, what did you say, in the 40s?
I said the 4th round. So
yeah,
in the 40s.
50?
Yeah, 40 to 50.
I think I'm even maybe a little bit further back. I think, after pick 50, I'd start considering it. Probably closer to like that 50, 55 sort of zone. And again, depending on your build. If I'm a punt free throws guy, then I start to look at him. But if I'm not, he's just got a cross next to him for me because that free throws is too painful to stomach with not too much else to sort of make it worthwhile. So definitely a bust there. That was my next one. So I definitely agree with you there. I'm going to touch on another guy who I think we spoke about briefly before recording. John Wall is my next bust at pick 50. I think you were saying before that you were looking at some highlights and he looks pretty good. And
he was looking good, dude. He was playing like a 4-on-4 with, I think it was James Harden or whatever. He was looking explosive. He was dunking just like the old John Wall. So if I hadn't seen that previous to this, I would have been like, oh, absolute bust. But I don't know, like there's a bit of hype behind him now. I don't know, dude.
And look, there'll be someone like you in every single draft who are just like, they're keen to see him play. He's going to be the same John Wall. And that's just not going to happen. I really don't think they're already talking about him resting back-to-backs, then monitoring his limits. This is Bradley Beal's team now as well. So a lot's changed since John Wall was the go-to guy on the Wizards. And I don't see him having that upside at pick 50, even if he was playing every single game. I'm just worried about, like Bradley Beal's taken a few of those assists off him. He's taken the points off him. And those were his 2 biggest categories when he was healthy. And even now he's a player that relies on athleticism. Look, he might look good in a 1v0 or in a highlight tape, but when it comes to NBA action, I just worried about those are some serious injuries that he's had, and the talk of rest scares me away enough to not want to draft him until sort of the late middle rounds.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. He's gonna be great in assists once he knows to get on the court, but his field goal's always been a bit dodgy, and now they're saying he's got a 3-point shot, so he's gonna start throwing those up, which might not work out for him. So yeah, I think it's pretty risky. I wouldn't even want to really touch him until 70.
Yeah, I'm even more risk averse at that. I think I'm outside top 90 here. I don't know. I don't like, especially. It's been 2 years or even longer. It's been
2 years. He did his knee, and then when he was rehabbing, he fell over and tore his Achilles. So it was like back to back.
No, those are killer injuries, man. So yeah, I'm not touching him. He won't fall to me in any drafts. Well, in saying that, who knows? If he's there at pick 100 or pick 90, go for it. Swing, take your shot. You might get something good. But at pick 50, you're just asking for pain there. Cool. So I'll throw it back over to you, Cal. Who's your next bust?
My next bust, number 47, who out of my team last season, Mitchell Robinson.
Okay.
I think it's way too high for Mitchell Robinson. I'm sorry, but 47, no. He can't stay in the court because he always gets in foul trouble. And with Tom Thibodeau, I didn't even know if Tom Thibodeau is going to like him a whole lot, to be honest. And there's so many bigs in New York. 47 is way too high. That's like your 4th, 5th round pick. I'd be waiting until I picked him up at 80 last season, so around that. And I think he was ranked 18th last season. So everyone knew not to get that guy from our draft anyway last season. But I think he'll be putting up similar stats as to last season, which is around that kind of, you might have it in front of you now, but it's probably around that 80 to 90 value. He's good in blocks, doesn't do anything else really. The field goal is great, but he barely shoots anything. So it doesn't help you a whole lot.
Look, he is good because he's so good in field goal percentage, like 74%. I think he pointed out before, the best ever.
Best ever.
Like he's a big boom in that category. So it's
only 5.6 field goal attempts though. That's the thing. Like it's not a high volume. So it could be beefed up. So sick, but it's just like he's not taking a lot of shots there.
Yeah. I mean, that's true. Like he's not as good as someone like who's an example, like a Zion Williamson, who would boost your field goal percentage more. It's still good, but his blocks is his biggest category, and 2 blocks a game. The minutes is the thing. Will he play minutes? And it's just foul so trouble, hard.
Man. He's always fouling.
It's foul trouble, and New York, man. I never liked drafting players from New York. You just never know what you're going to get. Like the rotation is a mess. Look, maybe this year under Tibbs we get some people playing 38 minutes a game, like he does. So, look, if Tibbs likes him, it could work out. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to happen. I'm more bullish on him this year than I was last year. But yeah, like you said, what do you say? 47?
That's where he's ranked. Yeah. Too high.
No, not a 47. I'd want to take a pick outside the top. Closer to 60, I think would be where I'm going. And I only really.
I'll let you have him, dude. I'll let you have him on the weekend.
And like I said, it's only 2 categories. So if you want those 2 categories, then you get him. If you don't want those 2 categories, he's worthless to you. So he's really a specific type of player that will fit only certain builds. So if you see him at your draft and someone takes him just before you, don't stress too much. He could be really bad. I think that's solid. That's a solid bust pick there. I'll move on to my next one, and I may cop a lot of heat for this one. Pardon the pun, but it's Tyler Herro. I just want everyone to just pump the brakes a little bit. Look, Tyler Herro was great in the playoffs.
He's a walking bucket, dude.
He's a bucket. We love him. He's what did he drop 36 on the Celtics?
Yeah.
Look, cool. Ranked 66 on Yahoo. Like, chill out, guys. Let's. I think we've got the finals glasses, the playoff glasses on, and that's all we're thinking about. He is nowhere near the 66th ranked player. Look, he might get a few more minutes this year, but let's not forget they've got Jimmy Butler, they've got Goran Dragic, they've got Duncan Robinson. They've got players there who are going to take shots and use the ball there. Kendrick Nunn is still there. Like, they've got these backcourt guys who are going to put up shots, and when your only value is points and threes, you want to be getting a lot of points and threes to be valuable in fantasy. And he just He's not going to be able to do that on this team, I don't think, this season. And yeah, no steals, no blocks, poor rebounding. There's just not a lot really to like for Tyler Herro, in my opinion. What are your thoughts? I know you're a big Heat fan.
Look, I'm a big Heat fan. I love me some Tyler Herro. The man's he's a bucket, that's for sure. But yeah, look, 66 is too high for me. That's definitely too high. He's probably still going to play that 6-man role off the bench. So he'll have some explosive games for sure. Don't get me wrong. He'll have heaps of games where he goes up for 30. And he could be a huge upside in 1 week. And another week he could just like not really do anything, and it's going to hurt you a bit. So
what do you think he's going to average points wise this year?
Well, what did he average last season?
Last year he was 13.5.
Here he is, 13.5. 2 assists, pretty bad. I can see his assists going up. Look, I can see him averaging 15, 16 points. 16 points, I'll say that. Look,
even like 16 points, it's possible. I can see him averaging 16 points, maybe 2.5 threes. I'm not really there with you on the assists. I don't think he is a creator of sorts. So maybe that gets to 3 assists max, in my opinion. And then, the 4 rebounds, poor field goal percentage, 0 steals, 0 blocks. I don't know. I don't see the upside. And especially at 66, look, he'll probably be a top 100 player. Last year, he was ranked 181. So you wouldn't even have him on your roster, really. He was, if not, he was your last sort of guy. But he'll be top 100-ish. I'd probably be comfortable drafting around the 100 mark. But yeah, there's no value in picking him at 66. You've only got downside.
Yeah, it's like there's no counting stats at all on the defensive end. So he doesn't steal, he doesn't get a block, and that can hurt you. Like if you're going to punt that stuff, you could look into getting him, I guess. But he's definitely not there for me. I'd be looking definitely outside of top 100. I wouldn't even look at him until you get to 100.
There's lots of guys that will do exactly what he does that you can get later. Like a Tim Hardaway Jr. you could get, I think he's in like the 130s or something like that on Yahoo. So he will do the exact same thing that Tyler Herro does, and you can get him bloody 60 picks later. So there's no sense in drafting him at this spot. All right, you've got your 4th bust pick. Let me hear it.
All right, my 4th bust. I'm gonna combine 2 together. Because they're both at 83 and 86 respectively.
Okay.
And it's Blake Griffin and Kevin Love.
Oh,
I'm going to bring them both up because I think it's the same reason. I don't have any faith in them anymore. I think they're pretty washed up. They can't stay healthy. They're both on giant contracts that are untradeable, really. I don't see them really trading it unless it's like expired. They're going to skip a lot of games. They're going to be rested a lot of games. Both their teams are going nowhere. So I don't really understand the point of it either really playing, that they should just be tanking. There's all those question marks. It's too much for me to really have any confidence in either of them. They could have a few, maybe one of them might have a good month. I can totally see that happening. They'll have a sick month, but over the course of the whole season, especially leading towards the playoff end, when that's when you want to be winning your games, obviously I can see them just resting a bunch and really hurting you and just pissing me off. So I'm just going to stay away from them. I'm going to let someone else take him. Someone else go Kevin Love and Blake Griffin. I don't want anything to do with them.
I'll agree with one, and I will slightly disagree on another. Look, I don't want anything to do with Blake Griffin. You can piss off. I'll take him with my last pick if he's there at pick 160. But outside of that, I don't want him. Kevin Love, I could see me owning him. Look, if he is there, what rank did you say he was?
He's 86th.
Look, 86. That's not too bad a value. Like last year, he was ranked 56. Like I know.
Yeah, but like if you take into consideration his games,
he played 56 games, and in a season, I think how many games was there last season? It was only in the 60s. I thought. Look, he did miss some games.
It was 70 games ish.
70 games.
So if you include the bubble, it was 70 something.
Well, they didn't make the bubble. We know that because, it's the Cavs. But look, so 56 games. So yeah, let's say he might have missed 10 or so games. I don't have the amount of games they played last year. It wasn't a huge chunk like Blake Griffin did. So I'm more confident in Kevin Love than I am with Blake Griffin. And I still think Kevin Love will do what he does. Like obviously the bigger concern for me is Andre Drummond coming onto the team and taking all his bloody rebounds and points. So I think that's more of a concern to me than just like where he's at in his career. So for that reason, I would select him maybe around that 90 to 100 mark personally. So I guess that doesn't qualify as a bust for me, but I could definitely see the red flags. And in a year, if you're worried about injuries and rests, that's condensed, then he's probably someone to bump down your boards a bit. But yeah, Blake Griffin, don't draft him. Or if you do, make sure it's your last pick. Your last pick. All right. Now, if you are going to lump two players together, I'm going to lump two players together. And I've got two rookies. Obi Toppin and Anthony Edwards. I think that personally, I don't think you should draft either of these players if you're in a standard league. I don't think either of them are top 150 players. Look, the more I think about it, the more I think that Tom Thibodeau is not going to play Obi Toppin near enough to what he needs. I think he's going to ride his vets. We know that he hasn't trusted to give rookies a lot of minutes in the past. Just because Obi Toppin's from New York, I don't think Tom Thibodeau is going to care. And Anthony Edwards, I just think there's too much going on in that team, and his biggest strength is his points, and I don't think he offers much else. So, and there's a lot of points to go around on that team. So I just don't see him contributing elsewhere to have enough value to be on a standard league roster, especially in the beginning of the season.
Look, I feel Obi Toppin's ceiling though is 20 and 10.
Really, this year?
Yeah, why not?
I'm not buying it. I really don't think so. I think there's like a 0.5% chance that happens. I'm really not buying it.
I'd draft Obi. I'd take him in the late rounds though. Either my second last or my last pick.
So not pick 85?
Not pick 85. It'd be 120-ish kind of area for Obi. And Anthony Edwards, look, maybe I get him my last pick. I don't know. I probably wouldn't. He's not going to be a great fantasy player, I don't think. He's going to like get some points, but the other counting stats just probably won't really be there. I don't think he's going to be elite defensively either. So he's probably going to have a few turnovers. He's still a rookie. I don't think the positives to Anthony Edwards probably aren't as glaring as the negatives.
I think, look, either one of them, like if it's your last pick, give it a shot. Why not? If they suck, just drop them, pick someone else up, because that's what happens in fantasy drafts anyway. So I get that, but like they're both in the 8th round or the 7th round in standard drafts in 12-team leagues. So there's still good players. Like we were talking about in our sleepers, Marcus Smart's there, Gordon Hayward's that ranked around the similar sort of range. Like these players are so much better, safer picks, higher upside, and just you had Josh Richardson at 122, 40 spots below these guys. So there's just so many other players that I would rather draft than these guys, and I just don't really see the upside personally. They are my two rookie busts. All right, we've got one more bust each. I'll pass it over to you, Cal. Who's your last bust?
My last bust. I got a few options I can choose from. I'm going to say number 98.
Okay.
Kevin Huerter.
Yes, good pick.
Yeah, Atlanta. He averaged 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists last season.
Cal, I believe it's pronounced Huerter.
Huerter. Apologies for that.
I could have totally butchered that, but yeah, go on.
He plays for Atlanta. They have they're so deep now. They have heaps of good wings and a shooting guard. The only person on that team who's going to be reliable, I think, will be Trae Young. So everyone else is a question mark. There's so much better players around that. Like in that 98, you can still be a good player. Like Al Horford's at 100. Schroeder's at 96. Marcus Smart's at 94. There's all these great players around that same area. And then you got Huerter, who I have no confidence in. And not to mention, he played 31 minutes a game last season and only put up 12, 4 and 4. That's not good fantasy. And there was no defensive stats either. And 41% field goal.
Yeah, he was the 110th ranked player last year, and somehow we think he's going to get better. Like, What are we doing here? What are we doing here, Yahoo? Like,
yeah, he should not be almost if you're drafting him, you're a bit silly.
That makes zero sense to me. That's just one of those it's almost obvious, but the people who are not familiar with his name might see him and go, "Oh, who's this guy? Oh, he's a redhead. Let's draft him." But yeah, do not draft him at all unless you're in I don't even know, a 20-team deep league. Yeah, even then, what's the upside? He would need injuries and a fair few injuries to be relevant at all. So great pick on a bust there. Do not draft the fan of pants, Kevin Huerter. All right, my last bust pick is Yahoo ranked him at 67, and it's our boy Aaron Gordon.
Aaron Gordon.
Aaron Gordon.
Obi Toppin?
Obi Toppin the first. These type of players, I just hate. Like ranked 67. What are we doing here, Yahoo? Like, do you know who Aaron Gordon is? Look, I know what they're doing. I actually do know what they're doing. They're thinking Jonathan Isaac's injured, so I don't know.
More shots, more
shots,
defensive assignments.
Do you know how many shots Jonathan Isaac took last year? Like, not many. He wasn't a big usage guy. So, like, all that's going to happen is Terrence Ross is going to come into the starting lineup, and he's just going to take Jonathan Isaac shots. And even if you give more shots to Aaron Gordon, like, what does this guy do? He's one time in his career, and in the 17-18 season, his best ever season in fantasy, he was ranked 65, and that was now 2 seasons ago, or will be 3 seasons ago once this season starts. So his very, very best is where Yahoo has him ranked, and I just hate it. Like, why are we doing this? He doesn't put up any steals, any blocks. His poor percentages, both field goal and free throws. Shoots just over a 3 a game. Has health issues, struggles to sort of string together full season. So at pick 67, you're just pissing away your pick if you pick him at that spot.
Yeah, like he's one of those players who he can kind of have good weeks though, and he can put up like that 50th kind of value. Because I had him before, and there'll be a week where he's like putting up like 50 value, and then the next week he'll put up like 100 and something. And it's just like
180,
yeah, he's a tricky player to own. But as you said, he's too high there. He's not reliable enough at that pick. There's so much better players around in that 60s kind of region. I'd be
100%.
much more comfortable getting someone like DeRozan at 70.
I was just about to say DeRozan at 74 versus an Aaron Gordon at 67. I know who I'm picking.
Yeah,
like you've got players like Miles Turner, even like someone like a Hassan Whiteside's got some upside. You've got Clint Capella, Kelly Oubre, Christian Wood, all these players around his ranking that I would much rather take. So yeah, he is my final bust of the day. So, alrighty, well, thanks for watching, guys. Good luck to all of those drafting out there this weekend, and to all the ball boys drafting as well. Hopefully, we'll know at what point we're picking in the next couple of days. Where are you hoping for, Cal?
I'm hoping maybe like a 7th pick. I'd be super happy with. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to be stuck with a choice of 8, 9, 10. Yeah. I might have a pick at number 1 pick because that's not the best pick either. So yeah. I'm kind of down. Having that 8th selection at a pick is not amazing. I know you've done pretty well for yourself. So
yeah, so I've pulled the 4th selection. So I'm just hoping one of those top 3 spots is going to be there. So and someone they go there, which I think will. Oh, maybe I don't want 1. Maybe I'll go back. But 2 or 3 I'm pretty happy with, and then we'll see how we go from there. But get to those mock drafts, everyone. If you are listening on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure you give us a rating, subscribe to the podcast, and let your friends know. In saying that, we'll catch you guys later. Bye.
See ya.